Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio.
Friend us on your socials and let's connect.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
I like how we got the double time in there today. We normally don't do that, but you know what? Today is a very, very different kind of day. It's been one heck of a morning. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No matter where you are in the world, you are listening to Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio and Biz Talk Radio. All great things, Power 98.5. Download the app, tune in on Alexa. Power 98.5 is available on Apple Music, and you can also listen to it on power985.com. I'm taking a moment of breath. Moment of collecting myself. It's been a very interesting week. They're talking about on TikTok and online, where I'm an Aries, and I guess we are now out of Pluto, and we're out of this 16-year gruff that we were going through, and now we're going to be going through expansion and all of these amazing things. And I'm looking forward to not so easily get annoyed by things as I sometimes do. And you know what? You can be rubber only so often to have things bounce off of you. But isn't that the most important thing about being human? Is it really realistic? Whether we think about it from a metaphysical perspective or religious perspective or scientific or, human psychology, are we really supposed to be in a space and place as a human being where nothing affects us? I mean, that's the whole point of learning and connecting. So if I spend my life and surround myself with people where nothing affects us and we're happy all the time, then how can I understand someone's pain or their disappointment or, just this morning, just before we went live, I mean, I've got this incredible, beautiful human being, Tori with us today. She's a singer, dancer, actress, content creator. And I had a moment. And not even 5 minutes before we went live of an interview that was supposed to happen this afternoon with someone else. And it just brought back these feelings. And I said to the representative, I said, who does three-way calling anymore? Representatives should not be possessive and on the phone, with their clients. Whether you're a music artist, producer, director, you need to develop relationships with journalists and the media outlets. And they want to, we've got to get past this pay to play. We've got to get past this whole clickbait. I mean, look what's, big shout out and good loving thoughts to Liam Payne's family and what they're going through. And it's one of the things I expressed on the phone with this representative who I do respect, is that this possessive behavior, what's happening in the industry, not holding their clients accountable, turns out to be, situations to where, these young men and women and anyone of all ages, how do they grow when they have representatives that are not allowing them to grow? Or inappropriately, to come to find out, I had no idea that Liam Payne was a teenager and got locked in a hotel room. All the guys from One Direction got locked in a hotel room with liquor in it. I couldn't care less if it's in the UK. What is a, 14, 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old being locked in a room with liquor? It is just incredibly unfortunate that this behavior is still going on. It is, unfortunate that we lost an incredible talent such as Liam Payne. I enjoyed his music. I enjoyed his story. Despite the darkness and the demons that he dealt with, he's still a human being, and he left an incredible legacy. And I know it's not going to be in vain of what happened to him, that with everything that's coming out about P. Diddy and Beyonce and the music industry and the film and television industry, there needs to be better care. And that's the conversation I had this morning. And what I shared is there has to be, care. People need to start caring, not only about themselves, but the people they're working with and representing. So with that, and with Tori K with us today, and I said this to her before we went live, like, I'm just so grateful that God, the universe, all the above, I had 2 experiences back to back, and how incredible that the experience that I had no idea, I never expect anything, that I had of that personal, private moment in that conversation with Tori, how I just felt like the darkness, the ickiness from the conversation I had before speaking with her just lifted all away. And I feel good. And I'm just so grateful that there's people like her out there. Big shout out to her management company. Big shout out to anyone and everyone that has really good intentions, not only for themselves, but the people they're working with. And so with that, and I'm going to find out, we've got her music ready. We need to find, I know she has a new track out. I believe it's WNW. We need to find out more about it. Boy, look at that cover. Look at that cover. It kind of gives me that Britney Spears slave for you. We've got singer, dancer, actress, and content creator Tori K, who is a true entertainer. She's here to inspire the world through all forms of art. Her music is pop with an excited blend of urban, EDM, and rock sounds. And I'm going to let it all be known that when I interview a music artist, I never listen to their music or something brand new they came out with until I interview them. I want the experience. It is completely different when listening to someone's music and you haven't gotten a chance to talk to them or get to know them. And then when you are getting to know them and having conversations with them and then listening to their music with them, it changes everything. So this is what I love most about being in radio, being a journalist, and doing this for people like Tori. Tori, welcome to Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate your intro. It was so sweet. I was just listening like, wow, this is such a little like morning affirmations. It's so nice of you to say. I really appreciate it.
It's true. It goes back to where it's like, we did our shout outs and email blasts and everything, and I like to stay on point and stay on time with everything, but I just couldn't escape just that experience I had with you of, I'm going to put it to you like this. So I've been meeting a lot of people in my life that have been teaching me, and more specifically, Tori, reminding me that I no longer need to be scared. I just had lunch with someone yesterday who I met at the gym, and we were in a perfect spot, in a perfect place. And what I felt and in my experience yesterday from that conversation was God in the universe saying to me that I no longer have to be scared of what is about to happen or could happen to me in the world.
For sure.
Not saying I've got...
I think living in fear is such a terrible feeling. Yeah, I definitely resonate with that, especially like being in the music industry. And I think like negative thoughts are so common and you have to filter those out. Like, would you rather think a positive thought than a negative thought? And it's easier said than done, right? Yeah, that's why I appreciate what you said so much, because I really feel like even just talking for like 5 minutes before we went live, you really got that for my energy over the phone. I really try to choose to speak positively, not just to myself, but to other people. Because the world and the industry can be so dark and crazy and chaotic and intense. I feel like that's the biggest word for me, is like being in this industry for over a decade now. Like, it is so intense sometimes, and it can be so draining. And really just choosing not just to be that light for others, but for myself. Like, it's important just to keep my head above water and keep going. And really at the end of the day, remind myself like why I'm doing all of this. It's human connection. It's, you know, why do I perform and why do I make music? I choose to be positive because I want other people to resonate with that feeling and be able to escape whatever they're dealing with in their daily life. And that's what I love so much about my shows. That's why I've always resonated with pop artists like Britney Spears and all those like pop icons back in the 2000s, because that's really what I got when I watched their music, was just how iconic they were and just like being that diva on stage. And it just makes you like literally, it puts you in this little bubble away from all of your struggles and your problems and whatever's happening. So I love that you had that. I mean, obviously I don't love that you had that moment this morning, but I do appreciate that that's what our conversation reflected to you, because that's definitely how I want to be as not just an artist, but as a human in general. So I appreciate
you for the fact to where what I'm still processing is the timing. It's like this happened within literally maybe 5 to 6 minutes, if not that. And it's just so incredible how life and things get set up, where I had no idea that a certain conversation was going to go one way, and then how something else that was planned was going to be that balance. Like it's like, it's like just amazing is what I'm feeling. Like I'm feeling balance and grounding with you. I feel that even though you're young, there's this strength about you, and just what you did for me this morning, where I had someone I could talk to. And I think that's the biggest thing I'm processing right now. And to extend from yesterday's conversation is, how often do we have someone we can truly, truly have a conversation with, where we don't have to think, worry, believe, feel, or anticipate or speculate that our words, our emotions, and our vulnerability is going to come and kick us in the ass?
Absolutely. And I think obviously that also reflects your personality and your character as well, because somebody who's true can only see somebody who's true, and someone who's trust. Like, we immediately got on the phone and I felt like you could trust me, and I just trusted you, and I listened. And I'm also a yapper myself. Like, I'm a Gen Z girl, a yapper. So I can talk and talk and talk and talk. So I also can respect the fact that I'm like, I felt that you needed to just get that out. And I was just honored to be the person that you shared that with and shared that energy with. So I loved it. I was like, this is great. I loved how we just immediately broke the boundaries and got real, because the last thing I want in the industry is to have fake shit. I cannot handle it. I can't handle small talk, especially as someone who I feel like, even though I'm young, has had so many different experiences with different people, and which is such a blessing, that I could not handle just talking about the weather. Like, wow. It really would have drove me crazy if our 5 minutes before going live would have been like, isn't it just so cold in LA? So I loved it. That's why I was like, okay, great. This is going to be a great conversation, because it was just real right off the bat. And I was like, this is how I love it. Yes.
And it's incredible. I mean, if you can share, and I'm sure you have this, it's like, even though I'm here on the East Coast, you're on the West Coast, so often people are not having just common, I don't know if I would say common, Tori. I would just say simple, but yet authentic conversations that don't have a hidden agenda behind it.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like I would say, like, my first initial reaction when you said that was, well, that's just the industry. But I'm not really sure. I might just be in such the industry bubble that music is so my life, like my blood, my veins, like everything that I do, that might be what I think. But I'm sure it spreads into other industries as well, especially with social media, and just the power to go viral in 5 seconds, which I personally find to be amazing. But I think it definitely has the downsides of the lack of personal connection and the need for personal connection with other people. So I don't know. I think it's so fascinating that that's kind of how it is, because I definitely have experienced that, like going to events, performances. I think I'm very blessed to have amazing people in my life who do see me and like check in on me, or like genuinely congratulate me on. That's the big one too. Like, if you release a song or a music video, you have like this big opportunity happen for you, like who's there to like genuinely congratulate you and who's there to like congratulate you to like be there for the opportunity. But I honestly respect both, you know. The one I appreciate more because I do feel like I'm being respected as a human, and having a genuine connection there. But I also respect the fact that people just want to grind and get to where they're wanting to go. So I see both sides. I personally am the alternative. I love human connection. I don't think we get far without it. That's why my team particularly, and just the people I have around me, are just super genuine people. I think I was talking to you about that earlier. Like, I just don't have divas in my team. I love having people on my team, not just because of their skill, but because of who they are as a person. You got to check off both boxes. And I think maybe sometimes when you're looking for a team that isn't maybe the smartest thing, because maybe you could get a more, I don't know though, my team's kind of badass. So I don't even want to say that. I'm like, maybe if they were more of a diva, then they'd be more successful, but they're all badass and insane. So I also respect the fact they're on my team, but I don't know, maybe that's why the industry is the way that it is. And maybe even outside of music, it's because people just want to get ahead. But then again, I'm talking in circles. I also respect that as well. So I think I get both sides, and that's my struggle. I'm also sure you can see that I really put myself in other people's shoes too much. It's something I'm working on.
What sign are you?
Guess. I hate to be that girl, but you asked me.
No, I don't mind. I'm gonna be honest. I normally attract.
Okay. I heard you're an Aries.
I'm an Aries, so I normally blend well, and I tend to have. I'm gonna say this. I don't mean to go the long way around, but because you and I love to talk, and because we've got such connection right now. Geminis are number one, that are the strongest. So you do somewhat give me a Gemini feeling, but I don't feel that you're Gemini.
That's so fascinating. I get that all the time.
Are you Gemini?
I am not, but I get, like, when I ask people, what do you think I am? They immediately say Gemini.
Seriously? It could be in your chart somehow predominant.
I don't know my chart. I just know my star sign. Yeah. But I need to figure that out because it has to be my rising or something.
Well, whatever you are, here's what I'm going to tell you to give you an answer. Is whatever sign you are, it doesn't feel as though you are the sign that I normally attract or have for a long extended time in my life. And the ones that are usually long extended, Geminis, Sag, and Scorpios. And you don't feel like any of them. I'm
a Scorpio. I am. No. My birthday's this week. Yes, my birthday is October 24th. Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra Scorpio cusp. Yeah. Technically, I guess. But I was also born 2 months early, and I'm like, I need some astrology person to tell me if this is like a factor. I was technically supposed to be a Sagittarius because I was born 2 months early. So I don't know if that also resonates as well. Because sometimes I do feel like a Sagittarius, and my mom's a Sagittarius. And I was like, my mom and I are like best friends. So I think she also rubs off on me a little bit, which keeps me balanced because Scorpios can be, I'm very OCD, like intense. Perfectionist. I like things the way that they are. And like, as you know, Sagittarius are kind of the complete opposite. Like they're very like fly by the seat of their pants and like, crazy and adventurous. So I think it's a good balance to have. I have a little bit of both in my life. So I try to balance it out. But yeah, I appreciate the Gemini though, because I love Gemini women and they're strong and they're like very, very bold. So I always love it when people tell me that because I definitely think I'm like, okay, that's the energy I do want to resonate. I'm just not a Gemini, but I love that sign. I also love Aries too. Very fiery. I definitely, when you said that, I was like, that makes sense. I love it.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Tori, if maybe it's because in your universal contract and something in you is that deep down, could it be to where you don't want to be specifically defined as anything? You just want to resonate truly as yourself without some sort of title, logo, or definition attached to you because you're not about being stigmatized.
That just described me to a T. That was really crazy. Yeah, I feel that on almost every aspect of my life. Even just down to like my artist name. I always like, I don't want to have to just have one artist name. I'm like, that's boring. So I love having Tori K and TK. It's fun. It keeps things fresh. I think that might be what it is too, is I get bored and I'm such a creative that I always want to switch things, although I understand branding, but like, I think that's why a lot of my branding is just rainbow, because it's all over the place. It's chaotic. I can do whatever I want at any time. Yeah, like literally in my last music video, I wore a rainbow wig because I wanted to, which is so fun because most of the time I'm blonde. So it was like, I don't know. I love switching up my identity, but I think I do it in a way that's still so me. And I think that's something that I love about myself as a human, as an artist, is that I find a way to keep things fresh and try something new while still being so me all at the same time. Which, yeah, I definitely think, like, even with this new track that I put out, W and W, I've never explored R&B before. But there's something about it, like, and also I have a song called PEG that's a rock song, because I really, that, like you said, like, I don't like to have to stick to one thing. I really explore genres, especially because I'm young. Although I've been doing music since I was 10, I really love exploring sounds, even though I know in my heart that the artists I'm inspired by are pop icons, and I know that I'm a pop girly and I love creating pop dance anthems. I don't see the harm in, and it's actually, like, I think it'll, once I go back to pop, it'll really benefit that, the explorative aspect of trying other genres. So with this last track, I really wanted to experience what making like an R&B, like a 2000s iconic R&B with like the sensual lyrics and the smooth like rhythm. And I was really inspired by Janet Jackson with the track and the single cover that you saw. It's actually the single cover, I don't know if you'll notice it, it's kind of a replica. I was inspired by her Rolling Stones cover.
Mm-hmm.
So I really just, I get so inspired by different things, and I think I'm kind of a chameleon in that way. But it's so interesting when I listened to W and W for the first time. I had never done R&B before, but when listening back to it, I was like, this is so me. Like, it just felt like, oh, this is right. Not that I have to stick to R&B for the rest of my life, but I think that's, yeah, like I said, that's just something I love about doing music, and specifically how I do music is no matter what genre I go into, I'm like, yeah, this just works. Like, it's still so me. It's still my voice. It's still the essence of who I am in all of the music, no matter what I choose to do.
Have you ever considered of just creating possibly a new style genre like many other EDM DJs and other music artists are doing right now?
Yeah, I have kind of, I mean, I don't want to say I like created it, but I definitely have explored the sense of what I call urban pop. So I grew up hardcore dancing. I've been dancing since I was 2. Like, I was trained in all styles. And then especially moving to LA, I'm dancing at like these huge places that you see on social media, like Millennium. And so I really loved like rap and hip hop growing up, because once I was in like those classes, like one of my first teachers ever was a beat boy, which was so cool. And I wish I still knew the skills. But I was just exposed to such cool like rap hip hop music growing up that I don't think a lot of like 10-year-olds in Texas, like in Dallas, Texas, were getting exposed to, especially where I grew up. So I think I was definitely blessed with like being culturally exposed at a young age. And I also already at the time loved Britney Spears and loved the pop icons and Pink and Avril Lavigne and all of that. So I kind of wanted to create like a blend of rap and hip hop that I love, that I was always dancing to. And saw my dance teachers dance to, and then also like these iconic women I was seeing on MTV and on YouTube, and honestly on tour, because I would always go see them perform. And I was inspired by their music, and I wanted to blend the two together. So I kind of created my own sound a little bit with urban pop, where it's kind of like if you smush the two together, it's like a hardcore beat, a harder beat than like the average 2000 pop song. Or even modern pop song, but it still has that catchy tune, where you still can be like, okay, that's a pop diva. So that's definitely something I've created, but I definitely don't want to stop there. That's definitely how I am as an artist, because I'll say, they're like, oh, what kind of music do you do? I'm like, urban pop. They're like, what is that? Like, I love that response. That's the response I want. So I definitely want to keep like mixing random things and seeing what I can do. Which, I mean, the industry already does. So I think finding like your own way to do that is definitely hard, but I'm up for the challenge, and I think it's exciting.
Yeah, I I'm looking over, I'm on your website. For those, just to recap, we've got music artist, content creator, dancer, extraordinary woman, inspiration, light, and Scorpio. Tori K with
That's
us
the most
today.
important out of all of them.
I'm still impressed. And I'm going to go by what I first felt and what my intuition is telling me is that you have made some sort of agreement with yourself by acknowledging that in this lifetime, this dimension, this world, this life that you're living, you want to make sure that you're not missing anything, and that when it is possible and to the best of its authentic measure, you want to be able to connect to everything and everyone because you are about learning. You do feel that there is so much that can expand your knowledge, Tori, that you don't expect to learn everything, but also you are taking your life so seriously in a sense to where this is where it's like, oh, I can go here and learn this. I can go there and learn that. You're being responsible to learning and understanding and living a human life.
Yeah, I think that's what life is all about, right? And I think I chose a career to be the most creative you could physically be. I mean, in my opinion. So why wouldn't I take full advantage of that? I mean, obviously an artist has its struggles. Everybody knows this. The industry can be crazy, but I'm like, I also am just so blessed that I'm able to make music and be an artist every single day. Why wouldn't I take advantage of being a sponge with all the people around me? Because I'm so blessed. I don't even have to find the rooms of creatives. Every single day I'm in a room of creatives and cool people like journalists like you, and not even just people that do music, but are invested in music or invested in a creative field. That, like, why wouldn't I be a sponge? I think that was one of the biggest compliments I've gotten from teachers and mentors I've had growing up is like, you're such a sponge. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think learning is so important to keep growing. And I don't think learning or acknowledging the fact that I don't know everything is a weakness. I think it's a strength. And definitely keeping that perspective. That's like the main thing is I want to keep like my Southern roots in Texas. And I definitely think like a word you called me earlier was grounded. And I really appreciate that. Cause I definitely, I have moments where I'm not, but I think the biggest thing, and I think it also has a lot to do with being very close to my team and my family. And I consider my team my family because I've been working with them for so long, that we're practically all family. And I think that's like the biggest thing to keep me grounded. And I know a lot of artists don't have that. And that's how you can kind of get washed up into like this chaos. And, you know, you end up having like the conversations like you had earlier this morning when you don't have that grounded sense. I can't imagine how difficult it would be. So I don't even have that perspective. I have empathy for it. And I definitely can see that side. I know that I'm very blessed not to have, that experience or that situation or that circumstance. I'm very blessed to have like a very grounded team to where it's not even like, if I try to be a diva like that, my manager Joey would be like, are you kidding? Like, so I love how it's like, you know, I look at them as like parental figures. And I respect them and I'm very blessed to have them. Like, they're my biggest fan, but also my biggest critic. And I think that's people you should keep in your life. So I appreciate you saying that, but I definitely try to be a sponge. And I think maybe I'm just blessed to be in creative rooms all the time and in rooms with people who are so grounded and humble and successful and just have so much wisdom to share that I think, you know, why wouldn't I be a sponge? It would be stupid if I wasn't. You can learn so much.
And speaking of that, to bounce off of that, is it goes back to what I said in the introduction. I have spent decades, Tori, forcing myself, demanding myself, so many ways of perfecting the whole, you know, I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. I've spent decades finding ways and learning ways, you know, to doing past life regression and hypnotherapy and aromatherapy and acupuncture to not let certain things affect or infect me, especially infecting me. There's a huge difference between the two.
Yeah.
But to go back to what you said, Tori, let's say if I perfected where I did not react, this morning. I responded and I stood my ground and I was in my power. That felt absolutely like a cozy blanket. I was comforting me and consoling me as I was like if it was me hugging myself, Tori. And I was in that moment absolutely proud of myself. What would happen if I completely did not allow that experience to allow me to have that? I would not have been able to effectively have a connection with you in that conversation and the groundedness and you being who you are as Tori K. I would never have been able to fully receive you if I had perfected the rubber by not allowing anything, because I would have went like a robot into this interview, created a connection with you, but we would have never had that interaction.
Absolutely. And I think that really resonates with the journey that I've been on. And I'm sure a lot of people go on this journey, as you were just talking about, is like finding the strength and vulnerability. That has been something I have struggled with in time. And I think like the whole I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. I think getting vulnerable here and being real, I think I learned that very early on because I had, I'm very close to my mother, but I'm not with my father. And I think there's something I learned very quickly at a young age, that it wasn't about me, it was about him, and that it was all deflecting and it was all controlling, and that nothing was really wrong with me. I really was the rubber and he was the glue. So it was like, and especially from a parent and somebody I respected, I had to learn very early on that was the dynamic I was in, even if I chose not to see it. Because especially with somebody that you look up to and you grew up with, you know, you experience that and you think, okay, everything they're saying is real about me, because why would they make that up? And why would they say those things if it wasn't true? Why would they operate this way if it wasn't real? And I think that taught me very, very early on. And then as I've gotten older, you know, because sometimes when that happens, and maybe you resonate with this, is you kind of become like this hard shell to where it's, you know, you're very defensive. I had to go through years of therapy, and I'm currently in therapy. Because you're always growing and you're always learning, and you're always healing. You're never fully healed, and that's something I've learned, because I'm all about like an end goal. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I've had to learn the hard way that you are always healing. You are never fully healed. So yeah, I've been on this healing journey because when I realized that at such an early age, I think you have like this tendency to just harden up. And, you know, you chose this morning to share it with me rather than keep it to yourself. And I think for so many years, I was just keeping it to myself. Like I was like, okay, whatever, that's what you think about me, I'm moving on. So I think that's beautiful that happened this morning, because that's something I'm working on, is being vulnerable and finding strength in that. Because sometimes I think I'm like, oh, if I share it, and what if I sound like I'm complaining, or what if I sound like this? I'm like, what if I sound weak? What if I sound like it bothers me? You don't. And I think that was like I was a perfect person to have that moment with, because I didn't feel that way about you when you were talking. But I worry about that when I share things. So it's like, sometimes I need to reflect on, okay, but you don't feel that way when other people speak like that. So why can't you let yourself do it? And you're open to other people. So don't you think if they randomly ran into you to have this conversation, that the universe would put you in a spot that when you chose to do that, you would be put in the right position with the right people. And I think that's so fascinating, because that's literally something I'm working on, especially with just the way that I grew up, like I mentioned. And luckily I have a mom who's just the most like affirmations. Like that's why I honestly am the way that I am. Like she was a life coach growing up. So it's very like goal oriented, positive, speak like affirmations into yourself, laws of the universe, like laws of attraction, all of those things. So I kind of had like two different, the devil and the angel on my shoulder. So I learned things from both, which I think it could have gone such a different direction. And now I'm so proud of where I am right now, especially with so much therapy. So I'm glad I was able to be that for you, because it's definitely a good reminder to me that, you know, I didn't see you as weak. Like there's strength and vulnerability. And that's been like the biggest thing that I keep repeating myself lately. So.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful and watch out for people, not that this person who I do respect intentionally was trying to gaslight me or anything, but I know that this person had said 4 times, and I counted, because when I hear something more than once, my brain starts counting it, and I heard 4 times that, well, this is how it is in the industry, and I'm thinking to myself, honey, you have not been and I said, you have not been in the industry long enough. No, the industry is changing, and it goes back to where I am so incredibly grateful to you and for this opportunity. And big shout out to Joey Harris. I did text him and let him know that we're on
Always
live right
a shout
now.
out.
Always a shout out to our guy. Is there that the perfection of not having to be perfect,
Yes.
to be able to, when we look at things like, I'll see stuff online, and it's great that we've got priests or monks or other people that give us and tell us ways to be at peace. And that's where I was today. And that is important. And just like you said, and had shared of what you're learning in therapy and learning about yourself, is it could be that that's the beauty to where there are people in this world. And I have to mention it. When we think about someone like Liam Payne and what had happened to him, it could be to where we are not all supposed to die and leave this world like a monk. I mean, look at what happened to Jesus. I mean, the imperfection of how imperfect perfect is that the question is in your life and lifetime, what is it that you have found peace in? And I just have to highlight this. I truly believe it's unfortunate what happened and how Liam Payne had passed away. I will say that my first gut instinct on that, and from the videos and interviews I read, is that I was reading about a man, about a music artist, about a person who accomplished everything. And the final fulfillment came when he constantly was talking about his son, Bear. And I always felt that when Liam brought up about and mentioned about his son, is that he's been done for a long time. And the only thing that has been keeping him going is, I believe that, and I believe that he needed to be in a place where he felt completely in control of his life. Because when you look at the circumstances, his girlfriend was gone. He was in Buenos Aires by himself. And a couple days before he had passed, the fact of it is he was fully in control of what he was doing, whether he was waiting for a visa or he was waiting for whatever. The fact of it is he was completely, this is my professional and objective assessment, Liam was in the best place that he could be, because he was in a place where no one was controlling him. No one was using him. No one was dictating him. He lived his final days how he wanted to. Unfortunately, I'm not saying he planned to fall off the balcony, but ultimately, when we leave this body, this world, it's not always going to be bed and roses. Jesus didn't. And sure to heck, not every human being in this world is going to leave feeling like they're surrounded by a bed of roses and they live the best Christian, the best human, the best life. Some people will, but others will leave in a different way. But you have to really look at it with such clarity as to what was their narrative and what was the context throughout their journey that led them in their message to feel the way that they felt. And most of the time, people who leave seemingly I'm going to close by saying the most tragic, had actually left part of themselves left a long time ago. They were just going through some sort of motions, but there's a difference between a soul and a spirit. I believe that the soul, the spirit leaves, but the soul still stays in order to keep the human body embodiment intact. And I believe that when the soul reaches its place of full empowerment, knowing that it is not tethered by demons, it's not attached to anything else, to where it completely can exit out of the body on its own accord, that's when it happens. And that's what I feel about Liam Payne. And it's just amazing, just from not even less than 24 hours from yesterday's experience to this morning, it's it's just powerful.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think I look at situations like that because obviously I'm so far from it and I'm just reading about it online and on social media. I felt the same thing when the tragedy with Twitch happened, especially being a dancer my entire life. That really resonated with me because I think something that's so similar about both of these humans, they were such a light um, in the industry, which can be so dimming, and they continue to be so strong and so positive that I think it was just a blessing to be alive in the same lifetime as them. And I think the biggest thing too is to, if they both decided that their time was done, I think the biggest thing to take away from that is what did they do in this lifetime that they were proud enough to end it, that we can reflect on and learn from. And I think that's like, I've friends growing up who have passed away as well in the same nature. And I think that's always been my biggest takeaway is obviously the mourning and the grief of it. But it's like, I've never felt that feeling, but that feeling of being like you said, I've accomplished everything I want to in this life. And especially with people that are such a light, like Liam and Twitch, is less analyzing how they felt on their last moment, but more how they felt and the things that they accomplished and the things that they were proud of in their life that we can learn from. Because I'm sure that's what they would want us to do. And just being blessed that we're alive in the same lifetime as them. I mean, all these people that have unfortunately passed in this way, I think they've given all that they could in their lifetime. And I think that's something to reflect on as well. Especially if you're just passing by and letting the days go by, it can really be a wake-up call to be like, appreciate every single moment, especially with your loved ones around you, and check up on the ones next to you. I think that's the biggest thing for me as well. And it is terrible that things like this have to remind you of that. And there's only so much we can do as humans, but to appreciate everybody that is in your life that you love. Check up on everybody that's in your life that you love, and learn from those that aren't here anymore, and just be blessed that you were alive at the same lifetime as them. I think I think that's the biggest thing is I always try to be positive in a situation like this, and it can be difficult, but that's my biggest takeaways with unfortunate things like this, is that they're at peace. And I think that's all we can want for other humans, is for them to be at peace.
I believe
it's really
that.
all I want for anyone. I just want them to be at peace, and I want them to be happy. Even if that causes me pain, who am I to say, don't be at peace because I'm not? I just want you to be at peace in whatever form that is.
And there's no mistakes in how you feel, because what is proof, and where there is proof, is that whatever experiences you went through, Tori, that led up to be where you are at emotionally and mentally today for this interview. And the same as what I had gone through. I mean, I'm sure you can feel it. Like, I'm sitting here with you and I have no concept of time right now. I don't even feel like I'm sitting in time with you right now. And that's why, there really is no mistake. And when, we hear that saying so often, things for a reason, it is because every detail is going to lead us to that next connection, to that next meaning and that purpose, and to be part of our evolution. And we should not dismiss these experiences and these feelings, no matter how comfortable or uncomfortable they may be, because my connection with you is even more powerful, because I am not in my head. I am not thinking about anything. I'm not in the essence of time. I'm living and experiencing timelessness with you, because I'm having a real and raw connection. And I feel that you're having that as well. And it takes certain, and I don't mean to speak for you, it takes certain experiences and certain things to align that our message in this interview, in this moment, and everything, we had no idea of what we were going to experience. I I'm so grateful to you and for you for how you've enriched my day and helped me to get past a certain thing that could have infected me in a very unloving way. And it turned out to where, hey, I'm rubber, you're glue. It's not about me wishing something bad to someone else. It's just that I found in that rubber that it is not infecting me or affecting me in a way to where it's crippling me. I've gotten the beauty from that other conversation is I was able to see a mirror reflection and to be like, wow, Stephen, you responded, you didn't react, and you stood your power. And ultimately, I can't speak for this other person, but when this other person had ended the call by saying around the end of the call, Tori, as well, hopefully we can work on another project or something else together. I felt that was genuine. And to me, that not only solidified the fact where no one truly got offended, because there's still in some way, somehow an open invitation, whether it's ever accepted or not. There still is some sort of open invitation, because I know I did not disrespect this person personally, and this person did not disrespect me personally.
For sure. And I think that proves to show how you operate. Because I don't think either of y'all had malintention. I just think it, situations happen and your feelings can get hurt, or not even hurt. Just, you're like, oh, that left me with an energy I didn't love. I think that's also a big thing of like when I'm interacting with other humans is I really pay attention to how I leave the interaction feeling. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why my cup is always full, is because I really have people in my life, especially people I'm creating music with, people who I'm creating with, people who I'm sharing shows with, who I feature on their music with, is I always leave with my cup full and feeling loved and positive. And I think that was the only, there's no harm in an interaction of you experiencing being like, didn't love how that felt when I left that conversation. I just think it's I always try to take that perspective. And people have bad days, people have bad moments. Business is business, and I'm sure the whole situation is way beyond what we know, and the interaction that's happening behind the scenes before even talking to you, or situations that I have where I'm like, there's probably so much going on. They could have a terrible day this morning, that could have woken up and their coffee spilled everywhere and they're just having a bad day. Things happen. We're all human. We can't be perfect. But I think even in those bad moments, it goes to show who leaves you feeling positive and who leaves you feeling like, okay, I think I learned something from that person. I'm leaving with my cup full rather than my cup half empty or empty. Because also, like, I feel like a conversation too is you pouring your energy, your metaphorical like cup, into another person. And if you're in a conversation, that's why you leave feeling empty, because you're pouring your cup constantly and they're not giving back. They're not giving that positive exchange and connection back. So I think that's why I always feel that way, because I'm like, okay, if I leave a conversation with feeling like my cup is full and I'm not feeling drained, my battery is charged, that means it was an equal exchange. And that's honestly all I want as a human, as an artist, whether I'm creating music and who I'm in the studio with, who I'm writing with, who I'm putting a show together with, or just even people that I have as friends around me. That's like my biggest takeaway of interacting with humans is, although situations like that happen, I really want the core people in my life. And I think I'm blessed to I've accomplished that, is everybody in my life right now, especially on my team, all keep me with my cup full.
And what I just heard and felt, and to give you another blessed thank you, is that if that interview happened, I guarantee you my cup would have not been overflowed like the way this interview is. I know it. I heard it. You just didn't say it. There were many messages there. That's why it happened the way it happened. And as I said several times before to this person, I'm not apologizing, because I know how I was feeling and what I was feeling was in my best interest. And what was in my best interest is I was told, okay, if this is the reason of how it's going to go, then I'm going to utilize this reason that this is a sign that this is not meant to happen. And it doesn't mean it can never happen, just means that right now it's not happening because, I mean, it wasn't going to be fulfilling. So thank you for that without maybe realizing, but you just told me exactly why. That's it. Exactly why.
Oh. Well, I'm glad. I didn't even realize it. So that's cool.
You got it. Hey, the message always has more than one meaning. Even if you don't want it to be interpretation. We got 8 billion people in the world. There are things that we may never understand. There cannot be just one interpretation to one thing. Because we're not all the same and situations are not always the same.
Yeah, I think that's such a beauty, not only in communication, but in music. I think it's so fascinating when I write a song and someone listens to it and interprets it completely than what I meant. I find that beautiful. I think it's so cool that something I spilled my heart and soul into connected that with them and resonated with them in a completely different way than I meant. I could write a breakup song and someone thinks of it as a love song. That's the opportunities are endless. And music is just words, right? Just like beautifully put together. And I think of music as like a conversation. The same way I go into a song is the same way I go into a conversation and human connection. So I think it's fascinating that you said that because I experience that as an artist all the time where I'll write a song and I'm like, yeah, this is what it's about. And a friend of mine will be like, really? Because I listened to it and that's not what I got. And sometimes it is like, right, like the nail in the head. Like they get it immediately. They're like, oh yeah, I totally got that. But I think it's so fascinating that it goes to show that no matter, because like a song is like the most put together conversation. It's like practically a long monologue of exactly what I want to say. At least my music is to me. So I know exactly what I want to say. I choose the words very precisely. So it's like the most perfect conversation. It's my most literal conversation that I want to have. That's why I put it out into the world and I have people stream it. It's my most purposeful conversation. So I think it's so funny that even when you're trying to be super purposeful with what you're saying and the message you're trying to convey, people can still misunderstand it. And that's not a bad thing. It's just interesting on the way that people can think. And it just goes to show that obviously if they even misunderstand or misinterpret that, which isn't really misinterpreting, they interpret it differently. That how easily would that be to be in a conversation when you're just talking on the fly and not fully filtering yourself? How easy it would be to, interpret something differently than you meant it.
Perfectly put. Seriously, perfectly. That's going to be one of our promo audios right there. Within that almost 2 minute, that's right there. You literally can't get any better than that. That's perfection.
Thank you.
Welcome. And what's even going to be more perfection, because I know we can go for a very long time and I don't mind. You're not on any time restriction. We're going to play live. WNW. Tell us, give us, I know you capped on it a little bit earlier, but let's dig into it.
Oh my gosh. I would say I'm like going to humbly and confidently say that this is probably the record I've created that I'm most proud of. Which is putting a lot of pressure on the song, but to me, I'm just so proud of not only, and I say proud not only because I think I resonated with it so much. I think it's so beautifully done, all the collaboration and effort that it took to make this song. But I also think I'm just so proud of the explorative sense of it. I really went back, like I mentioned earlier, I was so inspired by Janet Jackson. The single cover is literally inspired by her Rolling Stone cover, because when making the song, I was so inspired by Janet Jackson. You'll definitely hear it when it gets to the breakdown. One thing about me, I grew up dancing since I was 2, so I love a hardcore dance breakdown. And that my girl Janet is the icon of that. So especially when I was going to create an R&B 2000s record, it would be not okay for me not to be inspired by Janet Jackson. So the whole song is just inspired by these iconic 2000s women that I just know and love and have grown up with, that I wanted to create my own. So it's the rhythmic beat that you love dancing to, that you can't help but move to. It's the sensual lyrics. that we want to put. I always call it my spicy playlist, but whatever you want to call it, it puts you in a good vibe, a good mood. And then obviously just the lyrics, and it's just a fun one. It makes me feel good. And that's what I love most about it, especially like it resonates so much with our conversation today. And honestly, although it's a little bit like more sensual and sexy than like basic human connection, it really is. The song is about human connection at the end of the day. You know. And yeah, the music video dropped and it is out, and I'm just so proud of it. So much work and effort was put into this song and the music video. So I'm just excited for everyone to hear it and see it and resonate with it as much as I do.
The cover's gorgeous. It was just
Thank
released
you.
on October 11th. I have to emphasize the cover is gorgeous. Did I say the cover is gorgeous? It really is. It is very
there's so
classy.
much thought that was put into it. If you can tell, like W&W stands for when and where. And on the, I can't remember which hand it is, but one of the hands that's holding me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be very PC right now. One of the hands that's holding me has tattoos of when, and the other has tattoos of where. So there's a lot of detail that goes into the cover, and I just think I love it personally. So I'm glad you love it.
It is. It's professional. It is very
Thank
professionally and artistic, and anyone that would have some sort of negative, or let's just say unloving tone or message about it, are not getting it, because I know what I feel when I look at it, and I can tell the difference when something is in a very classy way done. I mean, this isn't Britney Spears, being, pervertedly pimped out as a juvenile wearing, schoolgirl like clothes. I mean, it's sophisticated. There is a clear message about it. There's no pedophile innuendo asserted or secretly involved at all. It is what it is.
Yeah, I really wanted to represent, and I think Janet Jackson did so well too, which is why I was so inspired by her. She's so sexually classy, and I think that is something I'm so inspired by, and I definitely took as a token from her. So I'm so glad that reflects in the single cover, because I wanted to do something that represented the song, that made, honestly, me feel beautiful. It was definitely selfish. I was like, I want to have this moment. It was looking, I had an event at the Soho House downtown. And I did a whole music video premiere for W&W and did a live show and everything. It was so fun. And I specifically chose, I saw this live painter at LA Fashion Week, and I remember her, and her art just resonated with me so much while I was at the event that I messaged her and asked her to come to the event and live paint the single cover in front of everyone. And it was just I already felt like it was art, and just such a cool way for me to portray my sexuality and my confidence, especially as a young woman. And kind of taking ownership of my body, which I think the world is trying to take away from us as women, and kind of standing in my power. And to watch someone live paint it at the event was honestly a moment I'll never forget. It was very cool. And to watch all of my friends and family watch that, to me, I don't see sexuality in that image. I see confidence, and I see a woman standing in her power. And I think for that woman to be me and to be able to give myself that moment was a huge pat on my back and a big hug to myself.
Yeah. And growing up, being that Janet Jackson is of my generation, what I've realized and understood about her and always respected is she understood, for some reason, she understood how to stay away from anything that was pedophile-ish. And very unsightly that could potentially be discrediting to her reputation. And she understood what it meant of what she wanted to do as a woman. And it was very clear in how she did that. And I believe that's the reason why she was most successful. Tina Turner is another one. They were never They never sexually exploited themselves. They know themselves so well. They understood themselves so well as a woman that they got what needed to be done in the industry. And they understood what that meant because I believe because of men and the way business was done back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, that they knew what to do opposite of what a man would do to them. So they did the opposite for themselves. They didn't do anything to themselves. They did everything intention for themselves. That was for the best interest for other women as well, to not just possibly emulate, but more importantly, to respect. And that's why I hands down, Tina Turner and Janet Jackson will always be legends in that area. Diana Ross is another one.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, 3 powerhouse women right there that I'm just so blessed to be and share a creative world with and be able to take inspiration from them and create art of my own like W&W. So yeah, I just appreciate you having me on and being able, like, giving me the opportunity to be able to talk about, obviously, me as a human and how I think and how I feel, but also this new record. And yeah, the music video is out. It is super fun, super colorful. If you know me, I'm so colorful and I see music in colors. So when I write a song, I see colors, and that's why my brand ended up being rainbow. And in the music video, I even wear like this rainbow wig that's so sick and gorgeous. And I think it just like reflects how I feel about music. Music makes me feel like I'm just wrapped in a rainbow cloud, especially W&W. It feels homey, it feels warm, but also being such a fun dance anthem at the same time. It kind of does a great job of balancing both. So you're 1 second you're gonna feel, oh my God, I feel so comforted, and then the next moment you're gonna feel like getting up on your feet and dancing, which is honestly me as a human. So that's me 24/7. I'm conflicted by both emotions. So the song definitely reflects that. So yeah, I'm just excited for everyone to hear it, to listen to it, and to watch the music video, which is out everywhere. And we actually filmed the music video in March. So the fact that it's finally out is very exciting. It's been a long-awaited release.
Well, are you ready to listen to it with me live? I'm hearing it for the first time on Power 98.5. You ready?
Let's do it. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I was ready for you to like jump in. Like, yeah.
I was letting you be professional. I didn't want to ruin your moment. That was perfect within itself. Let's do it. Let's listen.
WNW, Where and When by Tori K.
Hey, I'm out right now. What's up? You want me to meet you? I'll be there in 10. Just send me your location. Okay. Bet.
Touch me like you care. Your hands are in my hair. It's a sonic every time. My legs, our fingers intertwine. Light it up, we go to cloud 9. Come and get it. You know it's divine. Baby, I'm a Scorpio. Compatibility is less than 4. Go ahead, drop the ID. You know I'll drop anything. My place is yours, it don't matter. I'll let you know to go faster. On your rocket to Mars. Looking at the stars. Slow strokes in the backseat. Listening to Eric B. When and where, tell me when and where. I'll reach there, give me all your time, I'll take you there. When and where, tell me when and where. I'll meet you there, give me all your time, I'll take you there. When and where, tell me when and where. I'll meet you there, give me all your time, I'll take you there. When and where, tell me when and where. I'll meet you there, give me all your time, I'll take you there. Dusk till dawn, you can call, and I'll still give my all. Cinnamon, skin to skin, slip it in and do it again. Hit reverse and back it up, flip it over and fuck it up. Real fast on the highway, they got me screaming your name. Go ahead, drop the ID. You know I'll drop anything. My place is yours, it don't matter. You know just when to go faster. On your rocket to Mars, we can go far. Chokehold got me. Racing to you on repeat. Oh, when and where? Tell me when and where. I'ma meet you there. Give me love in your time, I'll take you there. When and where? Tell me when and where. I'll meet you there. Give me love in your time, I'll take you there. Where, yeah. I'll meet you there. Give me love in your time, I'll take you there. When and where? I'll meet you there. Give me love in your time, I'll take you there. We can get active, it'll call where I'ma practice. Make me do a backbend, you know I do gymnastics. Shoot the ball and don't miss. Hit the three and I'll split. When I dip, then you dip. Left foot, catch the grip. Back of the F-150 pickup. Look real good when I sit up. Down now it's Pound Town. I'd follow you all around town. Heart is racing, goosebumps. Anticipating your touch. Nothing's too much. Wanna feel the rush. Tell me when and where. I'll meet you there. Give me love in your time and I'll take you there. Tell me when and where. I'll meet you there. Give me love in your time and I'll take you there. Tell me I'll meet you there. Give me love in my time and I'll take you there. I'll meet you there. Give me love in your time and I'll take you there. When and where? Tell me when and where.
I wish someone would tell me when and where, or I can tell them when and where. Shit, I haven't been able to tell
like,
anybody
maybe-
when and where for a long time.
I was like, maybe it's a little bit spicier than I let on, but you know what? There was a shock factor element.
I don't mind. I dig it. I really do. Hey, you got my support. Seriously, I would not have played it if I was worried about it.
It's very fun. It's fun. I love the song. I love my vocals in it. I'm just so proud of it. I think the lyrics, it really does give that like 2000s R&B,
It does.
like, but fresh.
Mhm.
And it's really like, I'm just so proud of my take, like my first ever take on 2000s R&B and just R&B as a genre as a whole. So I will definitely be continuing to explore. And yeah, as well as the urban pop music, and I do dabble in rock a little bit. I just, as you mentioned earlier, I'm a little bit of a chameleon and I don't like to pigeonhole myself into one genre, but I'm just excited to share with the world and with you. So thank you for having me. Yeah, my like first ever take on R&B and the world of W&W.
I would say for you, from advising you from a publicist perspective as well as a journalist perspective, is always be you, but always remember my feeling to tell you is do your best to not get too far away from yourself and distracted. I don't feel that you would ever get lost. I would say distracted, where your fans, your audience would not be able to completely understand not just you, it's more of your purpose. And I think that that's the biggest thing that is extremely hard for music artists to do, because you are exactly what an artist is supposed to do. You're here to tell a story, but not to control how a person is supposed to think and feel about it. You're there to encourage and set the mood. But also at the same time, when I think about it, it's like, to be honest and fair, I became extremely conditioned to what Post Malone taught me who he is as a music artist. And when he went and did the country, I wanted to so much, wanted to love his country style of music. And I can't, because I'm not able to maneuver out of his original signature into this new signature. I just am not able to do it. So just keep that in mind, that when you're changing, you have control over changing the landscape of who is listening to you and who's supporting you. You can't control how they relate to you, but you can encourage how they relate to you. And when you're changing different genres or different identities or wanting to expand on that, it means the people are going to change as well. And not everyone can stay or have the ability to, because however that, like how I was able to emotionally and mentally relate to Post Malone on how his music made me feel, the country just doesn't do it for me. And I come from New Jersey. I am all about understanding country music because that's what I grew up in, along with stuff like Led Zeppelin and Ozzy Osbourne. But for some reason, I cannot train and get my brain to, and my emotional self to be able to embrace this side of Post Malone, because that's not how I learned to understand his message. And it's not how I was able to relate to it from the music of what I originally became encapsulated by and moved by from him originally. So I hope that helps.
No, definitely. And I appreciate the advice. And like I said earlier, I'm a sponge. So I appreciate your knowledge and your not criticism here, but your take and your opinion on this. I definitely think like Taylor Swift is another artist that has switched genres a bajillion times, but have kept the same fan base because her core has stayed the same. She still looks the same on stage. She still is like her personality of Taylor. And I think at the essence of her core, she is always writing storytelling. She's always writing, it's almost like poems in her music, whether it be an upbeat poppy song or more of like a folk song. So I definitely think I've taken a lot of note from her, as well as an artist who has been so all over the radar when it comes to genre. And that's definitely something I would love to reflect, but I think I'm a little less crazy than her on like doing everything. But yeah, I do love to dabble, but I think what's so fascinating about my music is no matter what genre I do, I always have some sort of something to dance to, or like a dance breakdown, or it's always going to have that 2000s feel while still being fresh. Because I think my inspirations and my roots as an artist and what made me start music was 2000s. Playlists and songs from back then. And now being a Gen Z artist and with TikTok and social media, taking what's also trending and that like new fresh sound that we have, that modern feel, and being able to blend both, no matter what genre I'm doing. So I definitely think that's been the biggest thing for me is, like you said, although I may want to switch up genres and try new things out, especially being a young artist, is I think that's also given me the capability of finding things that really are me in music, no matter what sound I'm creating. That still resonate with my audience. But I appreciate that. This is not the first time I've heard this. So it's definitely something I've thought about and I'm exploring, and who knows, I may not be exploring forever. I think also with W&W, I really found a sound that I love and will definitely be continuing to explore on. So although I love flirting around with other genres, I definitely think I've found something solid here. And that's why W&W to me is such a moment for me as an artist and in my career, because it is really the first time I've been like, yep, that's it. So I'm just excited for what's to come, and I'm already in the studio writing and shooting new music videos, and just have so many plans for 2025 that I'm just excited for everyone to see what I have planned and what I've been working on.
Yeah, I'm not worried for you that there's going to be a misunderstanding. What I would encourage you and to have a conversation with Joey about is I see you in television shows. I see Netflix. I see Apple TV. I see, sync placement. And so when you're always going to evolve, Tori. I would just like to find that, because I'm heavily in the film and television industry as well, is I would like to see where your music can be placed. And we are going to close out playing, because it deserves it again, Where and When by Tori K. I would like to see, is it Vampire Diaries? Is it, like a Netflix film with Sandra Bullock? Is it something that you can see with Matthew McConaughey? There's a new film out that's coming out with Channing Tatum. Let's see here, because I just posted about it yesterday, called Roofman, with Peter Dinklage. And it's a true story about this guy who committed, Jeffrey Manchester, who committed all of these robberies, and he was hiding out in Toys R Us and where else? Have it here, and Circuit Cities. And it says, over 7 months, the Roofman hit over 40 restaurants, mostly McDonald's franchises, for a total score of $100,000. I can see your music and envision your music in true crime stories, or
I love true crime. I'm definitely not opposed to that.
Any of that. So just moving forward, think of, sync placement. And I'm going to see what comes to my mind, if anything, when listening to this again. We're going to play it live one more time. But that's where you belong, is in film and television. That's where I feel your music belongs, not just on streaming, not just videos. You have someone like you always has a huge story. And what's most important is you're able to take a script and formulate that story by understanding it, and then to encapsulate that into doing what you do best, and that's being a music artist.
Absolutely. And I think I grew up acting as well, so it's funny that you said that, because I also act, and I think since acting at a young age and kind of doing dance, act, and music all at the same time, I think Tori K and TK became which I think is a lot of music artists, but became like this persona and character. So that's why I think the storytelling is so fun to me. It's because I can go anywhere with it. So I think that's why, like, I've definitely continued sync, and I've been offered a couple jobs to be able to write for movies, like write music for soundtracks, and it's definitely something I'm interested in, because I love being able to not just tap into like me as an artist and as a character, but as a character, and be able to write from that perspective. It's just like another tool that I love to use, and I loved being able to write from multiple perspectives, and I also love to be able to look at multiple perspectives as a human. So it's definitely fun when I get to do it in an artistic way. So I love that idea. I think it's perfect. And any opportunities you see throw my way, I'm definitely open to it. And I think that's also the art of like writing for other artists as well. I don't just love writing for me. I love just exploring different perspectives of music, which is just different ways of thinking and communicating. Any
closing thoughts?
Go stream WNW, watch the music video, follow me. I'm like, that's all my final thoughts. You can follow me at Tori K Unedited if you resonated with anything that I said today or with the song. I have so much to come, and I'm just, I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're closing out with WNW by Ms. Tori K.
You want me to meet you? I'll be there in 10. Just send me your location. Okay. Bet.
Touch me like you care. Your hands are in my hair. It's a sonic every time. My legs, our fingers intertwine. Light it up, we go to cloud 9. Come and get it. You know it's divine. Baby, I'm a Scorpio. Compatibility is less than 4.